The most important things in a mousepad for me are surface feeling and consistency. The SPC Gear Endorphy CORDURA Speed has an extremely good surface, and it's one of the most consistent pads I've tried. These two features on their own would make a good mousepad, but the Endorphy CORDURA Speed goes beyond that. To my knowledge, this mousepad is currently only available in Europe, but SPC Gear is working to make it available also in the US. The pad is available in medium, large and extra large size. I have the large one, and that's 450 x 400 mm. I would say it's kind of a default size and it's great for me and should fit most people. The price on Amazon for this size is 23 euros, so it's definitely a very good value for money. The thickness of the pad is 3 mm and the mousepad is not very soft. It gives in a little bit more than the MPC 450, but it's not soft by any means. As I mentioned the MPC 450, the surfaces on the Endorphy CORDURA Speed and that one are pretty much the same. The Endorphy CORDURA Speed is just slightly slower and smoother. You can feel the difference, but it's not massive by any means. Just as the MPC 450, the surface on the Endorphy CORDURA Speed is extremely consistent. It's water resistant and it does not matter how sweaty your hands get, the mousepad will feel the same. It's also really easy to clean. Dust, hair, breadcrumbs, they do not get stuck in the mousepad, so it's just easy to wipe off. The surface is definitely fast and it offers a small amount of stopping power. And the amount of stopping power relies heavily on your mouse feet. For example, with the Xtrfy M42 mouse feet, there is actually a decent amount of stopping power. And the same applies pretty much to the Superlight and Hardy S wireless feet. But if you use this mousepad with something that has Tiger Arcs or really good stock feet, there's pretty much zero stopping power and the experience is really fast. The surface is of course also made of Cordura, so the pad should be extremely durable. I've only used the mousepad for about 3 weeks, but in this time frame there are no signs of use. If you have been watching my content for a while, you pretty much know that I'm a massive fan of the MPC 450. And now I'm also a massive fan of the Endorphy CORDURA Speed. By the way guys, we just hit 4,000 subscribers and we are on our way to 5k. So if you enjoy my content, hit that subscribe button. The stitching on the mousepad is decent, it's raised, but it's not abrasive. One issue with the Endgame Gear MPC 450 was that the stitching is quite abrasive, and that seems to be fixed here. The stitching does have some fraying where I plant my arm on it, but I use all kinds of sweaters and hoodies, so that might be the main cause. But anyway, the stitching on the Endorphy CORDURA Speed is much better than on the MPC 450. It's way less abrasive, and if the stitching was your main issue with the MPC 450, I highly recommend you to check this one out. The Endorphy CORDURA Speed has an anti-slip rubber base. I can easily make the mousepad move if I want to, but this does not happen in-game at all. One thing about this base is that my unit at least does not lay completely flat. The bottom left corner of my mousepad has a little bit of a bump in it. I don't really use that part of the mousepad, so it does not bother me at all. I could see some people affected by it, but I'm mostly just nitpicking. The mousepad is only available in black and there is a white logo on the bottom right corner. It's on top of the surface, so it does affect the glide, but no one really uses this part of the mousepad. The top right corner of the mousepad has the Cordura tag on the stitching. I love the minimalistic design and the mousepad looks great in my opinion. I played quite a bit of CSGO and Warzone with this mousepad and I used plenty of different mice. The pad feels absolutely great with the Hardy S wireless, the Outset AX and the Superlight for example. And one great thing about this mousepad and the MPC 450 is that although the feeling is slightly different depending on the feet, it's still very consistent compared to other mousepads. For example, slow feet are still fast, but there is just a little bit more stopping power. Comparing this for example to the Neon pad, the Neon pad has a massive variance in speed depending on what kind of mouse feet you have. For people who have not used a faster pad, it might take quite a while for you to get used to this. There is pretty much no static friction and a low amount of dynamic friction. I used the MPC 450 for about 4 weeks before getting completely used to it. My flicks in CSGO were all over the place for the first 2 weeks, but after that it started to get better. I would say this mousepad is naturally good at those games that have a longer TTK, and therefore you need to be better at tracking. But I don't see any reason a mousepad like this or the MPC 450 can't be used in a game like CSGO or Valorant where the TTK is very low and you need to be very precise. You just might need a little bit more time to get used to the surface. The SPC Gear Endorphy CORDURA Speed is an absolutely awesome mousepad. Good quality, great surface and insane consistency. It's one of the best mousepads I've tried. If you're thinking about buying this one on the MPC 450, you should get this one if you hate abrasive stitching. Otherwise, you should get the one that's more available and cheaper. That's pretty much it for the video. Really happy to see this beast of a mousepad from SPC Gear. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you enjoy my content, hit that subscribe button and see you in the next one.